good. This is something we forget. All right, I think we can start now. Special thanks to Arpit Bhai for moderating the session. And my bad, both the weeks I am in the travel when I have to do this session. Really sorry. So we will continue with the last week discussion, which was on 65. So we've completed on the letter that we need to draft and give it to the department about the audit. So now we will move to 65.3, which talks about the timelines for the audit. And the registered person will be informed by way of not less than 15 days prior to the commencement of the audit, as may be prescribed, which is ADT 01. Now, the fundamental question that again we have to look at it is the word commencement is when you give all the information, the commencement would start. Requirement of commencement is very important because 3 months from the date of commence is completion. Do we have to say that the work has started? The answer is no. Like we do not have anything legally which says that it has commenced. There are points which are given for us to discuss. Arpit, by next slide. So if we have to look at it, 15 days, is it mandatory, or if someone says that, okay, we have less time because 73, 74, including 74A, now those timelines are there. After the audit, again, it has to be moved to the jurisdictional officer. So can someone reduce these timelines? Now, the answer is, according to me, no. It is not a directory, it is a mandatory thing. Now, audit notice or audit intimation ADT 01. Now, ADT 01s are coming, but earlier, many have experienced it would have been an email draft saying that, okay, audit, you have been picked for audit. Is there a requirement of the data coming in the same format, or is it an optional? What do members feel if it is not in the portal, or if there is no title ADT 01? Would it invalidate the audit intimation? Would that letter invalidate audit intimation? Okay. So we have one answer saying, how do you respect 160 subsection 1?
So, Vinuji, how the courts are interpreting that if there is a proper section which has been invoked or there is an authority, so if there is some technical or procedural error, they would not invalidate the notice. So this is how, if even if ADT 01 is not mentioned, but the section and the power being prescribed in the 65 is given, then it would not invalidate the proceedings.
A slight deviation here. If the proceedings have started, like Unni mentioned, 160 subsection 1 is rescue. But if the SSC chooses to say that, okay, I have a reason to believe that this is not a proper officer, this is not a valid documentation, and I exercise my power under 160 subsection 2, and I choose not to cooperate, according to me, the officer is bound to continue doing the due procedure. And what Arpit Bhai mentioned is after definitely going ahead, and when there is a show cause notice coming in and something happening, at that point I cannot go back and challenge. No, no, no. The initial proceedings were void. Hence, it cannot be considered. So the entire observations are wrong. At that point, one cannot deny. Is my view. What would you say, Arpit Bhai?
So, in my opinion, 160, what we have seen up till now from the decisions of the court, that at best, even if I am challenging, then also they would send me back that, okay, the new notice would be issued and you can get the audit done. So 160 subsection 1 ultimately would come to the rescue of the department if proper section and power is mentioned and only ADT 01 is not mentioned. And if it is cooperated, then 160 subsection 2 itself would come to the help out the department.
Yeah, this I would agree. This is like they would go back and definitely they would correct back and issue a fresh documentation, and that would continue. Right.
So,
Now,
in my opinion, one
yeah,
not only with respect to 65, but also with respect to the larger perspective, looking at how
but
the
not for
decisions,
67.
not for 61, but
You
how the decisions are coming. That if there are only technical errors of a form number not being mentioned, but the power is there, then 160 subsection 1 is playing a crucial role, and it would not be a very fruitful litigation.
right. So when we come to 67, we will again discuss back the contents of INS 01 is not respected. People just tick off all the things and give. We will deal at that point. The next thing, can the audit commence immediately after the notice? Can we ask it beyond 15 days? Now, considering that they gave the 15 days time, can I request saying that I am not ready? Can we still say that, okay, I need more time? Members, any views on that? Like how you have 3 adjournments under 75, under 65, can I take the extension saying that, okay, stomach pain to my accountant, missing for 3 days, I am not there, need some more time. Can we take any of those excuses?
Sir, portal is not allowing reply beyond the time limit given, sir.
I am asking for commencement delay to the officer.
No, once ADT 1 is posted on the portal, they give you the end date to reply. And
Correct.
once that end date is done, further you cannot request for
Request.
anything. Now you have to just go with observations.
Right.
Actually, no, they gave a new ADT one saying that still there has to be more documents to be called for and it gets extended.
Now, when a new ADT 1 is given, when is the commencement date?
The commencement is anyway from date of audit visit or submission of all documents, whichever is later. So the ADT one has
Exactly.
no reference.
So this indicates that the additional documents called will it delay the commencement?
See, additional documents you have to interpret in two ways. If the original documents were submitted and then they are calling for additional documents, then it is an indication that audit had already come in, subject to the audit visit being already done. However, if then there is no submissions, they have not completed the original submissions, and subsequently when they are asking for new things, the day on which the original ADT1 documents were being submitted, that day would be counted as the day for counting when was the audit commenced, subject to audit visit.
But this is one area where we do not have a documentation to officially say that the audit has commenced.
Actually, yes. In Kerala, they are giving us signed affidavits as a signed declaration forms that we have come for audit visit today, and these are the documents that have been submitted already, and these are the ones which are pending. Ever since the people have started challenging the commencement in High Court, audit has
Audit,
department has started to do
yeah,
this internal process to ensure that it is not be extended.
right, right.
Vinuji, if we
In Bangalore, sir, the practically what is happening is they issue ADT 1 and 7 days time is given for you to reply. You don't reply, then there is no option to reply on the portal. They just go ahead and issue ADT 2 based on whatever data they have. And that's it. There is no challenging that at all. Like you cannot do anything. You just have to keep the observation and wait for the show cause notice.
That is good, right?
And they say the audit is completed.
I would prefer that over an actual audit.
Yeah, and that is also 7 days for you to provide any additional documents over what is given in ADT 2. And you don't give up within the next 7 days. SCN is already issued by the same officer. That
If
also.
no documents are submitted despite multiple notices, the internal protocol is to refer the matter to the AMC to discard the audit or refer the matter to intelligence as per the AMC's wishes. That is what is being done here.
No. Discard the audit and
If they feel that it is for, there are indications of evasion, refer the matter as a reasons to believe for a 67 or intelligence-based activity.
Isn't it audit bigger than investigation?
No. What suggests is that if there is specific documents that they have asked for which points towards there are evasion, then if the taxpayer is not willing to cooperate further, the audit becomes infructuous and there is no point in completing the audit. So this is presented before the AMC to take a call, and the AMC will discard the audit, and instead the commissioner will forward that this has to be further looked upon by the investigative vertical.
Okay.
Vinuji, if we see the first thing, practical thing is that when they issue ADT-01, the list of documents they seek is something which no one can produce in toto. At least what is happening in Rajasthan. And just to let you know that today only there was a news in the newspaper wherein the audit commissioner Jaipur has been ranked first among the 48 audit commissionerate in India, and audit commissioner Jodhpur has been ranked as sixth in among the 48 audit commissionerate. So two of the top six are from Rajasthan. So what they are following is they give a whole complete list of documents which we are never able to submit. And if we go through explanation to section 65 subsection 3, for the date of commencement of audit, it says the commencement of audit shall mean the date on which the records and other documents called for by the tax authorities are made available by the registered person, or the actual submission of the audit at the place of business, whichever is actual institution of the audit at the place of business, whichever is later. So even if the documents are not submitted, but once the visit is made, then on that date it shall be treated that it has been commenced. But then issue again comes that what happens when the audit is being conducted at the department's place. They are not visiting the place of the taxpayer. So in that case, the date of commencement of audit itself is a big challenge in case that audit is being conducted at department place. And secondly, what ma'am has said that the portal does not allow. What is happening at portal also, presently we have one such issue wherein once the documents are submitted online, whether they are complete or not, the portal treats that the audit is commenced, and once the 90 days are completed, the portal is not allowing even the officer to upload the document stated that the audit period is complete and now you don't have the power, and you have to put the case before the commissioner in MCM to decide what is the next action to be taken. This is the recent case which I have faced just 2 days back, and the case would be put before the commissioner that the audit was not completed within 90 days since the portal is not allowing it, and the officer has sought extension from the commissioner stating that the documents were not submitted. So this is something which is coming from proviso to section 65 subsection 3.
See, I would like to bring attention to one case law here. That is Kerala High Court in Rajiv and Company. The division bench actually made a comment that if there is even still missing documents, let that be the case, let there is an audit visit, but if there is a observation or inquiry based on some verification that has been already been communicated to the auditee, that indicates that the audit has already at least started at that date. So commencement cannot be literally treated upon a subsequent actual completion of documents at a later stage, because the prior audit observation has already been communicated. So that has to be treated and it has to be treated as commencement and literally not as per the explanation given in section 65.
So what you would be saying that once a partial documents are even submitted, then it would be treated like audit has commenced.
Provided they act upon it and issue an audit observation or a draft inquiry.
But then the
they
draft inquiry is only issued once they go through and verify the entire records.
No, not the DAR. I am talking about additional questions or queries that are communicated because it signals the commencement of work by the auditee.
Yes. Okay, because that is not happening here in Rajasthan, at least neither by the state nor by the center. They only give the draft audit report finally, and then after the submission made by taxpayer, the final audit report is issued. They are not issuing the audit slip, which is generally done in Tamil Nadu and other states.
So how exactly do they communicate other requirements? They simply ask in email or over the phone?
Yes, they issue an ADT01, which is uploaded on the portal. They send it through email, and we provide the documents through email. And once they go through entire record, and once a visit is made, then the first communication which is done is the draft audit report. There is no communication in between.
No, here that's not the case. Here there is actual interaction between the taxpayer. They ask questions there. We are expected to give short answer as to explanations to what these are, because 71 empowers them to do so. And 65 also requires our assistance. So then these are all steps ultimately which leads to the draft audit report, which also refers back to these communications and submissions by the auditee.
Is any other practice which is being followed across the country? Any inputs from the members on the practices which are being followed and how the date of commencement? Because now, since the portal is behaving like this, so there would be cases wherein the date of commencement itself would be challenged, and there would be cases wherein supposedly the portal is not allowing the officer to upload, and the officer is seeking extension. So therefore, by virtue of the proviso, there has to be a reason to be recorded, and that reason itself can be challenged by the taxpayer, that why the extension is being given on account of non-performance by the officer. So any other practice which is being followed across the country in different states?
One issue here is that our jurisdictional high court has taken a position that the delay in audit or non-completion of audit does not vitiate 65(7) and subsequent proceedings by a same officer or a different officer, and that is directory and not mandatory.
So what the audit officer can do, he can share the information whatever he gathered to
the show cause notice stands independent of a delayed audit is what Kerala High Court has held.
Yes.
So anyway, we are not going to accept that proposition. We are nowadays, most people in Kerala, what they are doing is keeping track of these internal communications and getting acknowledgement of whatever the documents they have asked for, and also the date of audit visit, so that even if all the documents which are, as you said, not practically possible to give, cannot be used as an excuse to say audit never commenced. And one fun thing is that the extension is also being allocated to the ADC audit, and the commissioner has not exercised any powers. He has simply delegated, and it is the ADC audit who takes care of the 6-month extension.
Okay.
In the system, there is one more issue. I think that power has been delegated to the DC audit also.
Onniji RPG, may I say something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, sir, first thing, I joined late only about 10 minutes back, but whatever I've been hearing in 10 minutes is that different sort of practices are being followed at various places, and about the portal also, witnessing the portal is behaving like this and that. To me, it feels there is a lot of lack of information what all is available in the portal for audit among us, the taxpayers, as well as the officer's side, from what I have heard just in conversations. I will not be able to, I may miss some steps if I start recounting here. May not be entirely 100% accurate. So I'll share out a few steps which I can definitely say which are there. But if you permit me, Uniji, Arpit sir, Venu sir, maybe say next Saturday, whatever is all available in the portal, a brief I can give. Not a full session, but maybe a brief I can give so that no steps are missed. But briefly about what we are talking about is, say, what is available on the screen. If, say, 15-day notice, no, portal does not validate that the officer can issue a notice of lesser than 15 days or not. But officer should issue, when it is in the provisions, the notice should be 15 days. Any lesser issue shouldn't be there. Number two, taxpayers can submit their documents online multiple times. It is not that once they submit it, they can't submit it again. Portal allows the officer to send requests for further documents even after taxpayer has submitted documents once. There is a sort of conversation can start that officer can ask that, okay, I've received so many documents, but all these are still missing. Taxpayer can resubmit, or even taxpayer can seek and further time for sending documents. All those steps are available in the portal. It only seems that there is a lack of awareness among us, the officers as well as the taxpayers, on how to approach. Regarding commencement of audit has to be recorded on the portal. A date has to be recorded. Without that, the officers cannot proceed further to take any actions, though unfortunately that date is not shared with the auditees, the taxpayers. Going further, I don't think there is any limitation that after this, any reminder or that thing cannot be issued, or some other details, audit extension is to be sought. I don't think that is there. But yes, in the portal, the system is like that. I'm talking about this only considering that what I hear from these conversations is that at lot of places, ADT 01 and the entire process has started happening on the portal. Because as far as I am aware, that this is not being very extensively used. Only very limited places portal is being used entirely for the audit process. But if the portal is being used, then portal has a place to issue a notice of discrepancy. We call the manuals, CBIC, etc. They call about draft audit report or DAR. The draft audit report in the portal is only for department's own internal purposes. That is not shared with the taxpayers in any way. But what is shared on the portal is called a notice for discrepancy, that the discrepancies have to be intimated to the taxpayer. Only after the replies, etc., come, the all those the draft audit report based on that can be prepared, and that can be presented by the department in their MCM. MCM is again a center's term, not very widely used by states monitoring committees, etc. They may have a different mechanism for their members, etc. But whatever approvals from the seniors, etc., they can be obtained or taken or whatever it is there. But all that is there, and then the final audit report can be must be submitted ADT 02 in all cases, whether it is a nil para or there is some discrepancy or whatever is there. At each stage, taxpayer has an option to pay any amounts through DRC 03 linking with the audit case folder. And without issuing a notice of discrepancy on the portal, the ADT 02 cannot be issued. Without issuing the ADT 02, the SCN on the portal cannot be issued. All these things are there. If officers are taking actions on the portal, then all this is there. And some of the steps are locked, that this step cannot be taken if an earlier step is not taken. Once an ADT 02 is issued, that means a final audit report has been issued. Then there are limitations, of course, that now the further documents, etc., cannot be submitted or anything like that. All those are there.
So, sir, one important thing
Yes, sir.
which you have stated is that see here at Rajasthan, both center and state are doing the audit based from the portal itself. They are asking the documents on portal initially, then the further
Yes.
documents are being submitted manually or through email. But then one
Mhm.
important thing which you have mentioned is that when the officer is commencing the audit, he is required to note the date of commencement of audit, although it is not communicated to the taxpayer, but it is there on the portal that what is the date when he has commenced the
Yes.
audit. So
Yes.
this is one thing which can be used in the litigation whenever the audit is being conducted through the portal. That what was the date of audit which was mentioned by the officer for the day purpose of commencement of the audit. So this is one very important input. And second, what you have said that multiple opportunities can be given. So this is being given here in Rajasthan. So whenever the date is extended or some other documents are required to be uploaded, they generally give an extension, and then we are able to upload the audit. And during the course of investigation, that audit, what you have said that there is a notice of discrepancy which is issued. So they are issuing the notice of discrepancy, wherein for each and every issue we are able to accept completely, reject completely, or
Yes.
accept partially. So
Got
whatever
it.
amount we have to pay, that amount is transmitted through DRC, and we pay it through DRC,
Yes, sir.
and it is recorded that it has been paid against such and such para for the notice of discrepancy issued. So yes,
Mhm.
this is being done here in Dyson because all the audits are being done exclusively through the portal and being recorded on the portal.
Yes, so that is the way the sort of process which is available on the portal. If the officers say something that no, they can't do this, maybe they are not aware of the entire process. If as taxpayers we say that only once I can submit the documents, then later I cannot submit, maybe there is some a lack of awareness amongst taxpayers also. We can submit as taxpayers the documents required in multiple tranches. It is not
But
that
what
only the
happens is,
documents which are, to my understanding, it is not that the audit officers can ask documents only which are mentioned in ADT 01. What I mean to say is, uh, uh, it is not my understanding that audit officer cannot seek any further documents after the documents have been mentioned in ADT 01. During the process of audit, if they come across some more informations in verification of books, returns, whatever it is, if they seek any further documents, they can seek those also.
yes, they can, once they have asked, they can seek further documents for the purpose of completion, whatever is there within the scope of audit
G.
uh,
Yes.
given under section 2 sub clause 13 of CGST Act. So, any other participant who would like to share and what are the inputs Gujit sir has given regarding the conduct of audits through the portal, whether any other state is following any other practice or what they are doing, if at all the audit is being conducted through the portal.
Arpit ji, can I say something here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi. So Arpit ji, I had a recent experience in Patna. Uh, in Bihar, what we are seeing is the officers are not wanting to accept documents through the portal at all. They are wanting it to be provided physically, and the audit discrepancies are also issued based on whatever they are feeling uh, is correct, rather than examining those documents. So, for instance, if we feel that any discrepancy is already clarified through the reconciliation that has been submitted, what they would instead do is still issue a audit discrepancy for the entire set of issues, and they would again ask us to provide in writing. So they would provide 20-25 issues, even though 15 issues would have been answered during the course of hearing. So that is something which I experienced in Patna, which was a little surprising, which I didn't think that happens in Calcutta. In Calcutta, most of the cases, whatever is clarified is not part of the audit discrepancies. And finally, only the discrepancies which are remaining are to be answered through a written submission.
So, Shubhamji, again, what they are doing in Patna, in my opinion, there is one very big litigation which is starting to take shape. That supposedly my audit is complete, and they have issued a notice for discrepancy only for two issues. Now, supposedly my audit was complete and there was a tax rate issue of 5%, which I have charged and they have accepted in audit. From the term accepting, that I mean that they have not issued any notice for discrepancy for that, and the audit is completed. Now the officer, jurisdictional officer, issues a new notice under section 73 without referring to the completion of audit and says that the tax rate has to be at the rate of 18%. Now, what is happening is, should the completion of audit be treated that the issue regarding the tax rate was already completed during the course of audit, or it was not completed and a notice can be issued on that issue subsequently by any other officer? So this is one issue, that whatever issues which have been not been raised but have been completed by deeming it that they should have been seen in the audit, can a notice be issued subsequently by the officer? See, what is happening in Patna, what we have said, that if some information was submitted and it was concluded, still they issue a notice and the taxpayer submits the reply. So that issue is now on record. And once that issue is on record, so no one says that that issue was not taken care of. But what is happening in rest of the states, in Rajasthan also, we submit all the invoices, they check the tax rate, but they do not mention it in the notice of discrepancy that we have checked these issues and only this issue has been found out to be incorrect. So this is one issue, because we are facing litigation here in Rajasthan. We have raised an objection wherein such notices were issued. There was recently a judgment of Guwahati High Court also, which was shared on the social media platforms about 4 to 5 days back, precisely on that issue. But in my opinion, in that case, the audit notice specifically covered that issue on which the notice was issued subsequently by the officer. So this is one important input which Shubham has given, which is different from other states, I guess, that even for the issues which have been accepted during the course of audit, they are issuing a notice and then the reply is being submitted and then they are being dropped specifically by issuing a completion audit or order, what we can say.
Absolutely. I think this is a double-edged sword from what I believe now when you said that this is happening in Rajasthan. I mean, if you can just share light on the Guwahati High Court judgment you were speaking about, what did the judgment exactly speak about?
It said that once a issue has been taken up during the course of audit, the officer cannot issue a notice on that matter.
Okay, but he needs to write it specifically in the audit report that he's already seen it.
That is
Otherwise-
something which is being deliberated. See, what I have argued that in the case where I am appearing, I have said that supposedly my audit is being conducted, and for God's sake, there is no discrepancy found out in the entire audit, and a clean audit report is issued. So whether that would mean that everything was checked and everything was found appropriate, or whether it would mean nothing was checked and nothing was found appropriate.
Arpitji, here, one thing is that audit having been conducted for a taxpayer for a particular period does not mean that each and every ground on which their liability could arise has been examined and verified. So we can't, nobody can go for such an assumption. Like say, if we talk specifically about the example you took about the rate. So unless and audit, there are something recorded that yes, the rate was checked for the outward supplies. It can't be assumed that since audit has happened, rate must have been checked. Now, notice under 73 cannot be given. I don't think that assumption can be taken. Coming to the next part, like you said, that if there is, let us say, assume a nil para audit report, then how do we come to know? So if we go through the manuals issued by the CBIC or other states also wherever they are available, Karnataka has a very elaborate audit manual, for example. I have not got a chance to view. I'm not aware whether Rajasthan state has issued such a manual or any other states, but Karnataka state has issued from GST Council also there was a committee of center as well as states, and there was a manual issue. Though that is not binding, it was suggested that same practices should be adopted across the country by center as well as state. In that committee, so members from different sections of the council and states and center were there, and that manual is already available on the council's website. So if we go through these manuals, we can see that there are parts where the audit officers are supposed to record what all they examined in the during the audit. Though that is not strictly for taxpayers' consumption, its relevance comes that when in the department there are internal reviews, like say for every section there are reviews for assessment orders, refunds, and all sections whether the officers have been acting properly or not. The main purpose of such recordings of what all they checked is what all so they have to make a detailed recording of what all they verified during audit, etc. So that is as per the manuals. So if somehow I'm not sure whether we can ask in the litigation, yes, that there are chances if we go to courts that we ask for such records that it is recorded there, we did check, or in our submissions, say during our submissions during the audit, if there were any submissions made, so they can hint towards that. Or like Shobham was saying that if Patna Bihar officers are, even if those issues are resolved in reconciliations, they are still mentioning that and asking for responses on that. So to me, that seems like an opportunity to get everything on the record. Yes, this was raised, this was answered. It provides a future safeguard. So these kind of things may be available. I don't know. We can't seek departmental's inner papers, internal papers regarding whatever they. But maybe at litigation at some stage, I'm not sure. The lawyers amongst us may be able to shed light on that. But to that, I'm 100% sure to the extent that no assumptions can be made that since audit has been done for that particular period, every possible ground has already been verified under audit. That assumption cannot be made, unfortunately, according.
Gurji sir,
Arpit ji,
let's take an
Arpit ji,
issue. Yes,
Arpit
sir.
ji,
Yes, sir.
may I add
Yes,
something here?
yes, sir.
Actually, during central excise era, audit was being conducted, and again, notes section 11A was being used. But in that case, we were really using this audit wherever audit has been done. We were saying that extended period cannot be
Yes.
cannot be invoked.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is one thing. So no, here, but Gurjeet ji, I've heard Mr. Gurjeet ji also. Here, my view is that during audit, if we have given them everything, because no audit manual says we have provided them everything, as at least from the records, if anything in future occurs, we can take support of that audit has already been done. So that this is a change of opinion of the department then. Because then no discrepancy should be like that. But certainly this concealment or this extended period time at 74 extended period, that can never be raised where audit has been done and a discrepancy has been pointed out from books and records. That is my point. But as you are saying that if nil audit report has been issued, even then we have got some support that look, we have given them everything because that is all in record. We have given them the rate, description, rate of tax, everything we have given them. So after that, if they raise the question of again taxation or rate of tax, then I think we can take support of the audit.
So, sir, let's put forward.
I wish to add one more point here.
Just to Akash, just to
Yes.
put one point for discussion amongst the members. Let's take an issue. Then you can add. I'm just putting forward a question. Then you can add your viewpoint also.
Yes.
Just take an example that I have submitted the entire sale register along with the name of the parties, tax rate, POS, and everything has been submitted. And it is clearly appearing that on which invoices I have submitted 5%, on which invoice I have levied 12%. During the course of verification, they come to my audit, they come to my business place, and they get all the audit invoices checked. Now, can I say that since this was specifically on record, when they've asked the sale register that when they've checked the invoices, Now in this situation, can they say that we have not checked the tax rate and we can the jurisdiction officer say that I can say that a new notice can be issued? Now, Akash, you can end. This is one issue which I wanted to put forth, and all the members are requested to give their view because this is something which we will be facing in the future very frequently. Yes, Akash.
So I wish to add the same thing. In fact, जैसे गुरजीत ने कहा and Suresh ji has also added that yes, if audit is done, then they cannot raise the same issue on the points which have already been shared with them. And in addition to that, the nil audit report which we are talking about, my experience is when I asked the officer, he shared me nil audit report, but when I asked him to give me the detailed audit report, at their backend, they are always having a detailed audit report that what they have verified, what they have checked, and what are the paras they have raised. So sometimes officers are giving only nil audit report to the SSC just for the sake of giving some audit report, but at their backend they have a detailed audit report. So if we ask for that, that can always be useful to put for the issues, if any, coming in the litigation. And to the question which you have just raised, I would again say that since you have given all the documents and officer has issued its audit report after verification of all the documents, subsequently it cannot counter those documents and raise a demand again. It will always be a shield with us that since we have given all the documents, all have been checked. So looking at the same documents, they cannot raise any other proceedings. This is my view.
RPG,
Yes, sir.
to
Yes,
your
sir.
specific query, my response is that earlier also in central excise section 11A, just refer to section 11A, where a refund has been determined, okay, sanctioned, everything checked. Again, they could have issued notices under section 11A. They were issuing notices, okay. No, here my take is that audit has been done, everything has been done. Even then, this 73 section, 73, 74 or 74A, these sections give them extended power to again go ahead, to again rake up the issue if it is within that time limitation. Only thing is that extended period cannot be invoked, but they can always, they have the authority to issue, if because there is something that if a officer notices something that something has the tax has been evaded or something like that, tax has been short paid, then he has got all the right to issue 73 notices, and there in reply to that we can say that look, audit has been done, although that can be one of the submission, but I think you can't debar the officer from issuing a notice of the same period under section 73, 74A. That is my take.
So let's take, sir, in the context of armor security, which in para 61, I guess, the 67, they have said that once the issue has been logically concluded, and by the term of logical conclusion, they mean that either by way of issuing a show cause notice or by treating that the submission made by the taxpayer is proper, it cannot be raised again since it is a subject matter. And secondly, on the aspect of refund which you have raised, there have been challenges which have been made wherein once a notice was issued under section 54 and it was dropped, then can on the same issue a notice can be issued under section 73, 74. In that case, the challenges have been made stating that once an order is passed, now 73, 74 cannot be ignored. At best, they can either be reviewed under section 108 or a cross appeal can be filed under section 1072. So in this aspect, if we see what is the view of the house and other members, and Ramandeep ji has also shared on the chat box. Ramandeep ji, if you can share on inputs on this.
RPG, just a minute. You told me that section 67 says that one issue is, what is their section?
Para 67, sir. Armor security.
R1?
Para 67, armor security.
Okay.
Sir, recently I have get a matter dropped on this very similar point which you were saying. During my refund, what I have mentioned specifically that these are my invoices on which I am taking refund. And on the refund order itself, it is mentioned that superintendent has conducted an inspection, and based on that, AC or DC have sanctioned my refund application. Later on, during the course of audit, they have discovered that there are some ineligible input tax credit, and they have issued again a notice by extending limitation period under section 74, saying that ki these are the ineligible input tax credit and you have taken refund of it and you need to reverse it. So during adjudication they did not agree with me, but during appeal I got it quashed, saying that these were already in the knowledge of department. In fact, I put forward the inspection report, which it is mentioned in the refund order. Also mentioned that during refund application filing, there's an Annexure B where specific invoices have been mentioned clearly, and that is why this limitation period should not be made available. And since it was in the knowledge of the department, and got this show cause notice dropped.
Deepji,
Yeah.
this was exactly my point. That extended period can never be invoked if a refund has been issued after inspection, audit has been done. That is the
Sirs, what Malhotra sir has been saying and Ramandeep has also added. So it is an accepted, it is an accepted issue that once an issue has been taken up, discussed, etc., it cannot be raised again. But it is not a standard thing. It is always bound by the facts. Even for 74, if we are saying the extended period cannot be raised, it is bound by the facts. Whether now what Ramandeep has put forward, the example he has clearly given, so that it is the facts do corroborate very clearly that what they are basing their extended period has already been available with the department and they have seen. The facts are clearly demonstrating that. So this cannot be generalized beyond everything. It has to be corroborated by facts. We always say that whatever judgments are there, they are bound by the given facts there. Yes, there is a lot to understand from this, to take away from these. These are challengeable grounds, very worthy of that. But always in consonance with the facts, what do facts state? Not in just in isolation on their own. That audit has happened, so 74 cannot be invoked. That sort of one-to-one we can't take away. It has always to be corroborated with the facts. What was taken up in the audit, and was it the department aware of that? So are they doing so? Extended period always means fraud. So if the department is aware of that, there is no suppression. Say after an audit has happened, a modus operandi comes into the knowledge of the department. Yes, that there is a group of taxpayers who have adopted a modus operandi of evasion of tax, which was not the department was not aware of, and some investigations led them to discover this modus operandi, and they find that this taxpayer whose audit has already been done is also part of that modus operandi, using that modus operandi and involved in evasion of taxes. Can we say that audit has happened, so now evasion of taxes under 74 can happen? To my thoughts, no. It has always to be checked and corroborated with the facts. Just in isolation, we cannot say audit has happened, no 74. That equal to equal, one-to-one is not there, in my view.
But that leads us to
Yes,
one
sir.
more question. Sir, I just want to raise one point. For FY 21-22, the time limit to issue the show cause notice is also already over. So can the audit officer take up audit for FY 21-22 now?
Ma'am, only 73 is gone. 74 is still there.
Yeah, still there. But
Ah.
74 means that you're presuming that something is wrong when you're going for an audit. At the beginning, it's
No, that is not thing. That is only a verification. And just to add what Gurji sir has said, sir, the specific example which you have raised, that also came before us. And in that case, we have submitted the due documents because the information about irregular ITC being availed through a racket, that came to the knowledge of the department subsequent to the completion of audit. And in that case, we have submitted the due information. We have not challenged. So yes, I agree with Guji sir also that it has to be on a case-to-case basis. Supposedly, let's take an example that an audit was conducted, and while examining 2A, there was an information in 2A that the registration of a particular dealer has been cancelled before the completion of the audit. Now, this is on record, And if the audit officer does not issue the notice, in my opinion, that has been considered and that has been concluded. But subsequent to the completion of audit, if the registration of the supplier is cancelled from retrospective date and there is a new information, then this is something which was not before the audit. And yes, section 74 can be invoked. And what ma'am has raised that when they are coming for audit for 21, 22, they are presuming that something is wrong. In my opinion, that cannot be a correct analogy, because there might be certain cases which, even though they are in books of accounts, but intentionally they are not reported in the return. Supposedly, I have made a sale, I have charged a tax rate, but I have not reported in sale. Then, in that case, it cannot be a case wherein we can say that since it was in the books of account, there was no intent to evade. If it is part of the books of accounts, I have collected the tax, there is an invoice being issued, but if it has not been reported, then yes, for 21, 22 also, a notice under section 74 can very well be issued. So this is my perspective. Any other views from the members?
So you are going to say that the period of audit conducted will be based on 36 subject to the outer limit of 74.
Yes.
I agree with the view.
Yes, because this is one point I request all the members to participate and share their views, because this is something, see, other than this and a few other issues, there is nothing in 65. But this
Correct.
becomes a very important issue to discuss, because this would frame the coming litigations with all of us.
Sir, yes, sir. This is regarding, as you have rightly pointed out, if, for example, for a particular taxpayer, the audit has been completed under Section 65, he is supposed to verify the entire books of accounts. Once audit has completed for a particular period, he is coming under we presume that he is coming under state jurisdiction. Now, the central jurisdiction has identified that a particular outward supply is coming under the bill trading. So very well, they can very well come under 67. And they can do it. Even there is no rescue in armor security now, sir.
Yes, sir. And one important thing which you have said, see, just replace section 65 to an audit being conducted by a chartered accountant. We in our audit also say that this is based upon a test check. And if upon conducting the test check, there is something untoward which is found, then it is upon us to go into the detail. And this is only a conduct of audit based on the papers being furnished by the auditee in our case and by the taxpayer under section 65. So analogy can be developed that yes, when the taxpayers have submitted the documents, that officer is duty bound to conduct a test check on the important areas of audit which he is bound to verify. He cannot say that he has not done, because tax rate is an issue which he cannot say that I have not checked the tax rate while I have completed the audit. He has to conduct a test check on the tax rate being done. And if he come across something which is not correct, then he is bound to undertake a deeper investigation. So this is one thing of audit. We can say that it has to be done on test check basis, but at the same time, we can always say we have to see that not everything can be done in the audit, as we also say when we are conducting
Can
audit.
I say something on this? Do we
Yes,
have
sir.
time,
Yes, sir.
or do we need
No,
to
no.
go to
Yes,
any
sir.
other?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, on this particular point, your contention, which you're saying that specifically regarding tax rate, we can't say that officer has not checked the tax rate. Now,
Yes, sir.
we have to make a distinction between an adjudication that has happened and an audit that has happened. Say, in an adjudication, if it has happened and an order has been issued, if the department finds that the concerned officer has issued an illegal or improper order or not in consonance with justice or whatever is hurtful to the revenue, he has not taken the aspects into consideration. Whatever the key, in department's view, that order is not there, maybe because of negligence by the officer. The only option available to the department is to go for an appeal. Unless and until adjudication has happened, an audit report and a subsequent issuance of SCM by the audit officer is not an adjudication by any means. Or let us say that After an audit, a complete audit has happened, department in their review of the audit finds that the audit team did not even check the implications of rate notifications on the outward supplies made. They were negligent to that extent. And it was not part of the audit being done. It was not checked by them. It is an issue worth saying that the taxpayer is applying a wrong. So is department restricted from issuing an SCN? I don't think. A ground which has not been part of an SCN can always be raised in a further SCN. Department cannot go and to challenge the audit report that audit officer has not taken up this. We are going into an appeal against an audit report or an SCN. They cannot approve a show cause notice to the extent that there is already a ground existing in SCN. That grounds cannot be improved. But the grounds which have been missed in audit and in SCN, of course, the department should be capable of issuing the notice. We are not talking about the timelines here, whether the timeline under 73 has passed, talking specifically about 73. But my view would be that we have to make this distinction. Department should also, we can't take away the department's rights also just because an audit officer completed the audit and let us say he was negligent. I'm trying to frame this in a simpler manner that he was negligent, he did not look into issues, and those issues were not there, they were not checked. Now it is found that okay, our entire team or it was a misconception. Or we can even extend it to this way that okay, the particular audit team was under the impression that this particular item falls under this late notification, this particular rate heading, but now due to some other decision somewhere, etc., something, or maybe the change in the views of the department later, it is department finds no, this is a contestable issue. And the rate should not be like this, it should be like this, and this part was not examined at that point of time. Can department go into that, issuing a show cause notice?
73 can be issued, sir. 73 can be issued. No problem.
Viruji,
Yes.
it's 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. So,
Ah.
can you just move to 2 slides later? We'll
Yes.
conclude. Completion. Again, couple of points for again consideration is the section 35 gives the list of books of accounts to be maintained or documents that's called for. Now, SSC did not maintain documents. Now, when the documents are not maintained, there cannot be insisting saying that, okay, the audit is not complete. Now, this is what so, this is what so. With the available information, is the auditor required to complete the audit, or what is the next thing? Now, Uni was mentioning that to go back and issue 67. Now, when someone says that I have not maintained any documents, maybe specific relating to any of the information which the officer is asking. According to me, when information doesn't exist, it means doesn't exist. And that has to be taken on record, and the audit has to be concluded in that manner. Any other counter view?
Refusal to submit.
Not
Department
refusal
cannot.
to submit. Refusal to submit indicates you have and you are not willing to submit. You don't have. They're asking give me self invoices. I've said that self invoice register is not there. I only have a statement. I've just given a random some example. So I would leave this as a food for thought. And with this, we've completed 65 major points. Anything for anyone have any specific points that we should discuss before we conclude for the day?
Venuji, we can keep another session next, which would be last session, wherein a very important point of issuing who has the authority to issue the draft audit report, who has the authority to issue the notice, and how it has to be concluded
Yeah,
by
we
way of
should,
the 65.
post audit report, the notice which is being issued. Yeah, we will have to discuss who will do that. Yeah,
Yes.
I think that
And
section
Gurji
will
sir,
continue in the next week.
and Gurji sir has also said that he would be sharing a brief about the portal functionality for
Yeah, that is
completion of the
everyone
audit.
required. Yeah.
So that we will take. Gurji sir, we would be highly benefited if you can have, you yourself has volunteered, but it's a request from our side also to have a small 10 to 15 minutes presentation on that in the next
Yes,
coming
yes,
session.
just this much, a brief this
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Will not be
Yes.
able to show or demonstrate everything, but just I'll share out the steps in brief.
Yes,
There is
yes.
actually one interesting thing Kerala tried to implement, that is section 72, joint audits.
Acha.
65 read with 72. Can officers of the state calls for experienced officers of a particular sector in the service sector, which was done in audits in service tax era, from a central GST officer to assist them as part of their team while conducting the audit of a state audit entity? Let us
This
say
is
insurance, banking sectors are all purely service tax era companies. The state had nothing to do with them because they were never under VAT. Now the states are assigned large companies. So let us take State Bank of India. The audit experience of the state audit officers are really bad compared to the central excise authorities who would have done audits in the service tax regime. So can 72 be invoked by the 65 team to call for expertise from the central counterpart and assist them in the audit? Will it cross?
Only, sir, not recently, a few months back, from the policymakers, etc., there were discussions in the press releases, etc. Also, it was being mentioned that departments are being encouraged to have joint audits, central and state. So these at the policy level, these initiatives were being announced across various states. How far practically they have happened, of course, I'm not aware. But it was a curious thing that it is being said that common audits by centers and states should happen so that there is uniformity, etc. So that kind of there were information in the press regarding this.
I think we will include this in the next week deliberation and we will conclude
And
the
also, sir,
65
one
next
more
week.
point. What approvals are taken, prior to commencement of audit on, how the cases get selected for audit, both by the center as well as state. State, they say they get some assignment from the commissioner, joint commissioner, but central, there is nothing mentioned on that ground at all. On how an audit is, chosen.
So, Venuji, there are certain issues we have to discuss. Soumya ma'am has raised one. Unniji and Gurjit sir has raised for section 72, and there's section 65, 6 and 7. So let's keep it for the next session because we have already crossed 10 a.m.
Yes.
So vote of thanks from Unniji or Venuji.
No. I think firstly, I should say that in a normal course, we don't look at one section with multi-view. Members joining in SMS and participating is the only uniqueness of the SMS. I would only urge everyone that let's have an active deliberation. We are not here to prove someone right, someone wrong. Everything is a learning, and it opens a new dimension when we are dealing with the department officer. So every week, let's come back, continue reading of the section and the different dimensions that we have. Special requests, I would always have whenever possible, Uni to join because you will throw different perspectives. So Ashwin, Uni, Gurjit sir, everyone have different views, different dimension. Request members to participate regularly. The questions that are listed today will continue next week and we'll complete the session next week.
Okay,
we can conclude, Arpita.
We can conclude it. And you have started the recording. You have to end the recording.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.